Here are the other men and women. Here are my shepherds. The faces of Lazarus and of his sisters among all the servants of Bethany, the face of Johanna like a rose under a veil of rain, and those of Eliza and of Nike, already marked by age and wrinkles, and now so deepened by pain, always pain for creatures, even if the soul rejoices because of the triumph of the Lord. The face of Anastasica, the lily faces of the first virgins, and the ascetic face of Isaac, the inspired one of Matthias, and the virile face of Manaen, and the severe ones of Joseph and Nicodemus. Faces, faces, faces. Jesus calls to himself the shepherds, Lazarus, Joseph, Nicodemus, Manaen, Maximinus, and the others of the 72 disciples. But he particularly keeps the shepherds close to himself, saying, "Here, you were near the Lord who had come from heaven, bent over his annihilation. You are to be near the Lord who is going back to heaven with your souls rejoicing because of his glorification. You've deserved this place because you did believe, notwithstanding that all the circumstances were unfavourable, and you were able to suffer for your faith. I thank you for your faithful love. I thank all of you, you, my friend Lazarus, you, Joseph, and you, Nicodemus, who took pity on the Christ when to do so might have been very dangerous. You, Manaen, who despised the filthy favours of an unclean man to follow me on my way." By the way, the filthy favours of an unclean man were the favours of Herod. Manaen was his half-brother, I think, and so he was Herod's chief steward. So, actually no, I'm getting mixed up. That's Chusa, who's Herod's chief steward. Manaen is Herod's half-brother. That's not Herod the Great, who was the cause of the slaughter of the innocents. He died. But this is Herod, one of his sons. And just by the way, the shepherds are the very shepherds who were there at the first Christmas. Yes, they don't disappear into history. They have their own story, which I must tell in another video. But they are faithful to Jesus. They are evangelists. They are wonderful people. And I'll go into them another time. So, just to resume. You, Manaen, who despised the filthy favours of an unclean man to follow me on my way. You, Stephen, flowery crown of justice, who left what was imperfect for what was perfect, and will be crowned with a garland with which you are not yet acquainted, but will be announced to you by the angels. You, John, for a short period of time, brother to the most pure breast, and who have come more to the light than to the sight. You, Nicolaus, who as a proselyte have been able to console me for the grief of the sons of this nation. And you, good women disciples, stronger in your kindness than Judith. And you, Margam, my child, and from now on you will be called Marshal, in remembrance of the Roman boy killed on the road and laid at Lazarus' gate, with the defying script, quotes, "And now tell a Galilean to bring you back to life again, if he's the Christ and has risen from the dead." End quote. The last of the innocents who lost their lives in Palestine to serve me also unconsciously, and the first of the innocents of every nation who, having come to the Christ, will be hated for that, and extinguished prematurely, like buds of flowers torn off the stems before blooming. And may this name, O Marshal, show you your future destiny. Be the apostle in barbarian countries, and conquer them to your Lord, as my love conquered the Roman boy to heaven. I'll just pause for a moment. Just going back to Stephen. Of course, this is Saint Stephen, who is the first martyr, whose martyrdom is described in the Acts of the Apostles. And we have the mention of Margam, who then takes the name Marshal. Well, this is, well, actually before that, just to go through it, there's a mention of the love of the women disciples stronger than the kindness of Judith. And this is one reason. Judith is quoted, as are other, what we call deuterocanonical books, quoted by Jesus in this work. And it really shows that we Catholics are right, and the Eastern Orthodox are right, to possess these books in our Bible, as indeed they're in the Septuagint anyway, from which the evangelists quote when they're quoting the Old Testament in the Gospels. So for the Protestants to have removed the 7 deuterocanonical books is a grave mistake. It's illogical anyway, because if they can remove those, why shouldn't they remove any others that they don't like, as Martin Luther was proposing to do with the letter of James and I think the book of Revelation. But to go into that would be to go into things which I go into in Hyde Park. So I'll leave that to one side. Just back to Margam. Margam was a boy that Jesus saved from starvation. And now he's given the name of Marshall. Well, there is a Saint Marshall. And this seems to be him